Okay. Like you said, I'm Mrs. Evans. I know a lot of you guys. I am a realtor. And so what that means is I buy and sell real property for clients, sometimes for myself. What that includes is homes, not so much apartments. I can be licensed to do so, but I am not licensed to do so. Um, for multiple, for like duplexes and up to four, no. But it's not a separate license, but you have to. It's a separate like certificate to go along with it. It's a little bit extra, which I've never dabbled in. I have done commercial real estate, which means I buy like businesses, warehouses. Residential real estate means places that you reside, places that you live in. So, houses, trailers, land, anything that you can put a property or a home on. Even I work with builders who build new homes for clients. It doesn't have to be a home that's already built. Sorry, this thing keeps sucking into my mouth when I talk. Okay, sorry. So what I kind of wanted to talk about is this class that you guys have is a huge blessing, and I hope that you realize that. I was a really good student in middle school and high school because I had to be. I knew that I had to pay for myself to go to college. I knew that if I wanted to go to college, I either had to get a really great scholarship or I was going to be in debt for a really long time because I had nobody helping me in any capacity. I worked really, really hard and I made it through high school and middle school with good grades, but it's not because I had any idea what I was doing. It was just because I was really stubborn and I refused to make poor grades. But when I got to college, I thought I was going to die because I had no idea how to properly take notes. I had no idea how to correctly study, how to prepare myself for things. Because in high school, you could just kind of listen and then highlight things in the book. And I have a really good memory, so I could show up and make A's on all the tests. In college, it was so much more information that my brain could not contain. And it was really overwhelming. And my first year was a disaster. I didn't fail, but I had to work way harder than I probably should have because I didn't know how to do the things that you guys are being taught right now. And the things that you guys are being taught right now are things that are going to be useful so much further than college. For example, when I first meet a client, I sit down with a piece of paper and I take notes. I write down their name because nothing is worse than meeting up with somebody who they feel like you probably should have valued their time, and then you show back up to a second meeting and you can't remember their name. So I write down their first and last name. If they mention their kids, I write their kids' names down so that I can ask how their kids are doing later. Because human connection is one of the most important things in real estate. You can be the best salesperson in the world, but if you meet up with somebody else and you're late getting there and you're not sure what their last name is because you don't remember it, and you're not good at talking to people and you're not organized, you're not going to get the job. Even if you have the greatest degree and the greatest, you're licensed for everything and you're the best salesperson in the world. If you can't connect to a human and just have those basic things like remembering somebody, knowing their name, valuing their time by being on time or a little bit early, and knowing that their time means something to you, all of those things, connecting with those people, those are what's going to get you that job. Okay. So I got a degree in marketing. I did not use it very much. I was a soccer player and a musician, and those were what I did. I got a degree in marketing because it was kind of something that I could graduate on time with, and I didn't have any idea what I wanted to be when I grew up. But I had a scholarship, so I had to decide and graduate. But that marketing degree has helped me in so many ways. I remember when I got to college, I had a professor that was, and mind you, I played soccer in college. So I showed up to class every day with like sweaty hair on a knot on my head and soccer slides and like grass all up my leg, and I'd come trudging in, usually late. And I had this one teacher that was always completely done up. And every Thursday, she would make us dress like we were going to a job interview. And she would lecture us on the way that we looked and the way that we dressed and the way that we carried ourselves. And I thought, this lady is such a snob. Like, how shallow can you be? Because I was raised where, everybody should love everybody for who they are and you shouldn't have to impress anybody, which is also excellent information and valuable. But when you walk into a job interview, or for example, when I go meet a client for the first time, I remember all of those things that she told me. Because if I walk in and it's not about having, I had no money in college. I was a super poor college kid on a scholarship receiving grants from the government. And she talked about that. She said, you can have zero money, but you can have one nice pair of dress pants that you can make sure that you iron. And you make sure that you don't have dirt under your nails. And you make sure that you clean your shoes off. And you comb and you do your best to fix your hair. Because when you walk in, they're going to remember the person that took the time and cared about making a good first impression. And they're also going to remember the person who didn't. But who do you think they're going to hire? The one who did. And it's not because, oh, she's so pretty or he's so handsome or he's so good looking. It's because you took the initiative and you took the time to care to be presentable. So I remember that having that teacher and just thinking, gosh, she's such a snob. Like, why can't she just let us be who we are? Like, if I'm really good at this and I have a degree, they should hire me because I'm so good at it. But that doesn't matter. Yes, you need the qualifications. Yes, you need the education. Yes, you need the background and the experience. But if you look like you don't care when you show up somewhere, people are going to assume that you don't care. They go hand in hand. First impressions are huge, especially in the business world. If I go meet a client and I show up in my sweatpants and I just finished a workout, they're probably going to think that I don't take my job very seriously. So do you think that they're going to let me handle selling the most expensive thing that they own? People's homes are the biggest purchase that they'll ever make in their entire life. So their goal is to find somebody that's going to value that and take care of it. So when I meet a client, I take notes. I write everything down that I can. Even something as silly as if they mention their son Miguel plays soccer, I write that down. So 2 weeks from now, when I meet them and they say, oh, they've got to go pick up their son, and I say, oh, did Miguel have a game? Or did he have practice? Or they think, wow, she's really listening to me when I talk. She's really paying attention. And if I hadn't written that down, I have met people and then literally turned around and walked off and been like, oh my gosh, I have no idea what they said. I don't have any idea what their name is immediately because my brain is thinking about a grocery list while I'm doing 97,000 things. But when I see those people 2 weeks later and I ask how their son Miguel is doing, how's soccer going? How's this? How's that? They think, wow, she really cared about us. She really listened to what we said. Those things are huge to people. Human connection is huge. How do you guys feel if you meet somebody and they don't ask you anything about yourself? They just talk about themselves, and then the next time you see them, they don't even remember your name. They don't know anything about you. They may not even say hi. How does that make you feel? Great? Wonderful? Okay, so how many of you have teachers that when you walk in, they call you by your name? Good morning. What's your name? What? So do you have any teachers that when you walk in, they're like, good morning, Damien, how was your day? And they ask about you. How does that make you feel? Do you feel more connected in a class? You want to listen to that teacher more? You want to be more involved with that teacher? That's how the business world is too. Okay? So let me see. I wrote things down that I wanted to talk to you about. So my super shallow, snobby, fancy schmancy teacher in college later became my mentor and is still a really good friend of mine. I've gone to visit her in Louisiana twice. She's amazing and wonderful. And she wasn't a snob. And when I showed up to my first job interview and I made sure that my nails were cut and looked nice and I made sure that I didn't have grubby stuff on my shoes, I didn't have super nice shoes. I just graduated from college. I was poor. But I made sure that I got a rag and I scrubbed them off really well and they looked really nice and every single thing that I wore was ironed and nice looking. And that very first job interview that I went to, along with my education, along with the way that I spoke, along with my resume, but I got the job. Had I walked in my joggers and my soccer slides, they probably would have thought I was a joke, right? So the lady wasn't a snob. She wasn't fancy schmancy. She was giving me harsh truths that I didn't want to hear in college because I wanted somebody to hire me for me, which they should. And as they get to know you, they should value who you are. But the way that you look, the way that you present yourself matters hugely, especially in business. The way that you speak to each other. This one's really big. When I talk to my older sister, who's one of my best friends, we we talk like fools. We say probably a lot of words that aren't real words, and we goof around and we make up things and we make silly noises and jokes. But do you think when I meet with a client who's thinking of hiring me to sell a $400,000 investment, do you think that I speak to them the same way that I speak to my sister? No, and it's not because I'm being fake or pretending to be somebody that I'm not. It's because I need to sound as educated as I am. Okay, so I've heard a lot of people say, "Well, that's just how I talk." Well, that's incorrect, and what you just said isn't a real word. So the people that you're talking to probably think that you're not very smart because you're not speaking correctly. The way that you speak, the way that you write is huge. Okay? For example, um I'm really big right now. You guys know that most things are digital, right? For example, all of you with your computers in front of you right now. Most things are digital. When I was in college, they were not. Okay? We had those big like rainbow colored jelly Mac computers in the computer labs, and that was it. There were like 20 on campus, and that was all. You had to sign in and like get an appointment time so you could go get on the internet. Um, but digital things are where everything is right now. I could make all the flyers that I want and go put my name in the phone book. How many of you have seen a phone book? How many of you have ever used a phone book? Okay, nobody uses them anymore. Those paper things are outdated. I still have business cards and I still make things, booklets and pamphlets and things for my clients. But digital marketing is, you guys know, when you're on social media, digital marketing, that's what that is. Okay. So one job that I have that I just got this year, I got promoted to our digital marketing manager for my brokerage. I didn't apply for it. I didn't ask if they had a job opening. My broker saw my social media posts where I was promoting myself and promoting my business, and he loved the way that I wrote. So he offered to pay me money every month, a salary, to continue to do what I've always done. Write things the way that I would write my property descriptions. He was like, "You're such a good writer. Do you think if I paid you a little bit more, you could help us start a blog? You could help us do these things." So now I'm getting several $1,000s a year extra just for being online and typing things that I've done all along because they help my business. Okay. Do you think if I wasn't using my punctuation correctly or I was doing something in a way that would represent my company poorly, do you think they would have come to me and said, "Hey, we want to give you money for that"? No. Now, do I still post pictures of my kids and my dogs and my goats and post silly things? Absolutely. But when it's related to my work, absolutely not. Okay. Let me see if I'm sorry. I'm not a speech teacher like the bearded one across the hall. Oh, that's another thing. Being prepared, studying. I still do those things. I wasn't great at them when I was in school. Okay, but when I go meet somebody about selling their house, I find out what their address is. I look up every record of everything about that house. I know how many bedrooms it is. I know how many bathrooms it is. I know the layout. I know what the taxes are. I know what it sold for last time and what their mortgage was for. So then when I meet with them, I have tons and tons of things that I have to do math on because yes, you'll use math. Um, I run data spreadsheets for them. I show them if you sell your house for this much, this will be your walkaway profit. This is how much closing costs are going to be. This is what you'll pay in taxes. I do a ton of homework. Okay, I have what's called a seller's estimated net sheet. That's people's favorite document. Okay, because it shows every penny down to the line where all of their money's going. Okay, I have taxes run for them. That way they know what those look like if they're buying a house. Because where you buy a house, your taxes increase depending on the area. So you may buy a $200,000 house in one neighborhood, and with your taxes, your payment may be $1,900 a month. You buy a $200,000 house in Tanglewood, which is impossible because they don't exist, but you buy a $200,000 house over by TCU, your taxes are like quadruple what they are anywhere else, and so you're paying $2,500 a month for the exact same house. Does that make sense? Okay, so I do tons of homework on these houses. Before I even meet with people for the first time, I look up everything I can find out about these houses. I study the houses so that when they ask me, hey, how many square feet is this? I know it because I don't want to go, oh, I don't remember. Let me look. I know how many square feet it is. I know what the lot size is. Um, I know as much as I could find out about it. And I might have a little cheat sheet for myself. Okay, but when you want to know the answers to the questions before they're asked. So that's where you do your research. So all these note takings and research and studying that you're being taught now is invaluable to when you are an adult because it's a harsh learning curve if you don't learn these things now. If you don't learn to do these things well now. It's intense when you get older and more information's thrown at you. Um, I don't know. I think that's okay. Yeah. Yeah. It varies. So real estate's kind of bizarre. The housing market is very bizarre. There have been times where I've had 8 different houses either being bought or sold at the same time. So 8 different either family units or occasionally it'll be one single person buying a house. But I've had times where I've had 8 different houses going on at the same time, and keeping all of that paperwork separate is insane. But I have a little planner that I keep. I was going to get it out and show it to you guys, but it's in my classroom. I have a planner, a 3-ring binder planner that I keep as an adult, and I write everything down with it. The day that I execute a contract, I write it down in my planner. And I have everything digitized in a system, but if I need to go back and see, if I have 8 houses all going through a similar process at the same time, if I don't have multiple places where I can look and double check my work, because how do you think it looks when I'm selling somebody's most precious asset and I upload the wrong form for the wrong house to their file? And they don't know that I'm working with 8 different houses at the same time because the most important thing to them right now is what? Their house, not the other person's. Okay, so it varies. I've had times where I literally thought I was going to implode because I had so many things going on at the same time. And then I've had times where I have just one person going on for, a month. Real estate's really weird. That's another thing. Real estate typically takes about 30 days for anything to happen. So sometimes those clients will all overlap each other too. Yes, ma'am? What, babe? I got my license in 2006. Is that, you say when you were born? Sweet. I got my license in 2006, but I don't know. I was a coach here for a really long time. And so in 2010, um, I got out of real estate for a little while because I was trying to put more of my time into the coaching aspect of things. And then I got my license again in 2015, and I've been pretty full time with it since then. So, yes, ma'am. I am an inclusion teacher. So I go into rooms that need support for different reasons, and I support different students, different teachers. Um, whatever, pretty much whatever's asked of me. I've taught like 9 different subjects here. I've been here since 2008. So, yeah. Yes, sir. That's a really good question. He said, "How do you deal with clients who are not of the best behavior?" Um, and that's a really good question. I have worked with clients that I've become great friends with, and I send them Christmas cards, and they drop off treats at my house, and we meet up for lunch, and we get along so well, and our kids have played together. And then I have worked with clients where 30 days of working with them is torture, and I cannot wait for it to be over. And I reach out to them for business relations after and do whatever I need to do to make sure I'm upholding my responsibility. But I certainly don't meet up with them for hangout time. And the thing is those people that are wonderful that I love spending time with, and those people that drive me nuts, I have to do the exact same thing for both of them. I treat them both exactly the same. I work just as hard for both of them because they're hiring me not to get along with them and become their buddy. That's an added benefit if that happens, and that's great. But they're hiring me to do a job. And so whether or not we get along, I've had people that are just kind of vile. Like I've worked with people that are just kind of not great people. But I do the exact same work that I do for someone else who might have been my, childhood best friend that I've known for 20 years and they hire me. So in business, you're going to work with people that you don't like. You're going to work with people that don't have good behavior, that don't have good morals, that don't have good lots of things, and you have to perform the same for them as you would for someone who's your neighbor or your best friend. Mhm. Mhm. Mm. Mm. Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. And the thing is about humans is every single human is different, and every interaction you have with every human is different. I might meet a really great person on a really bad day, and they might be awful to me. But my job is to perform a service and to take care of what I need to take care of. Um, and sometimes people will surprise you, but yeah, just like teachers, people that you meet in classes, every single person is very different, and you're gonna have bosses, you're gonna have coworkers that rub you the wrong way. I joke with my kids that being an adult, I mean, it's not quite as dramatic, but being an adult, you have the same thing as you guys do in the cafeteria when there's not seating charts. You have the table of people that leave everybody out. You have the table of people who, don't care what anybody thinks of them. You have the table of people that, wear cat t-shirts every day. When you're an adult, you have all those same people. We all have the same personalities. We're all very similar to who we were in the 8th grade. We've just learned to manage our behaviors and manage our responses to things as we've grown. So there will be people when you're an adult that you don't like. But if every time I met somebody that I didn't get along great with, if I was like, I don't want to work with you, I would cut my income down by thousands of dollars a year because I can't find a way to be professional and work with somebody that I don't get along with. So, any other questions? Yes. The biggest house I've sold, price wise or size wise? Price wise was $735,000. Yeah, yeah. $735,000 house. Yeah. So, the great thing about real estate is I get a percentage of that sale. I do. That's how I get paid. So my boss doesn't like send me a paycheck every month. If I don't sell a house this month, I don't get a paycheck. If I sell 6 houses this month, I get 6 paychecks. So the thing about real estate is a lot of people get in it because you look at a $735,000 house, even 1% of that is over $7,000. Most realtors make 3%. So what's 7 times 3? Okay, so you might get a $21,000 paycheck. Now, you don't get all of it. You got to pay taxes and you've got to give your part to your broker. But let's say you get a $15,000 paycheck one month. That's really appealing to people. But a lot of people get into real estate and they get out really quickly because they realize they have to work with people they don't like. And also, if I sit around and I don't do anything all month and I'm not out there looking and trying to find work, does somebody send me work? No. So you're very self-employed. So you get out what you put in. And a lot of people don't like that. They want to show up every day and they want to have their work put in front of them and they finish it and they get a paycheck. In real estate, if you don't go find the work, you don't have any work. So it's tricky that way. Yes, ma'am. Pardon? Um, at this point, I would say 90% of the work that I have comes from referrals. Do y'all know what a referral is? What's your name? George? Okay, so let's say I helped George find his first house. And George, by the end of the deal, had a really great experience. He was like, wow, Miss Evans was really professional. She was really punctual. She answered all of my questions. She was so knowledgeable about the process. I loved working with her. And then George talks to his neighbor about me and about, oh, you just moved here? Yeah, how was that? Oh, it was great. I had this realtor. Her name was Michelle. She made things so much easier. And the neighbor says, oh, well, we're thinking about selling our house. Do you mind giving me her information? And George gives Brian my information. And Brian calls me, and I sell his house and help him buy a new house. So that's 2 houses from a referral. Okay, so now that I've been doing it so long, most of the work that I get comes from referrals, which is why it's so important that even if I don't love working with somebody, I put my very best into everything that I have for them because I want them to tell everybody what a great job I did. And then they're going to refer me to people. Another way that you can find work, when I first started, you advertise a lot. And a lot of what we do is digital right now because of social media. When I started in 2006, it was a little bit different format. Um, but you advertise. We have signs. Sometimes we'll sponsor things and we'll put signs up at events. Um, Word of mouth. That's a really good way to advertise with people that you know. So I would post things on my social media. Hey guys, I don't know if you all know that I got back into real estate. Here's what I'm doing. Here's the company that I work for. Here's what I can do for you. If you need me, call me. Here's my number. Here's my email. And I would post that on my social media platform all the time. And when I first started, I would get messages from people that I went to high school with that I hadn't seen in 20 years. And they're like, hey, I didn't know you were doing real estate. You know, we've always gotten along. Do you want to help me find a house? Okay. And so those people would reach out to me. So in the beginning, it's a lot of advertising and a lot of word of mouth. It's a good question. Yes, ma'am. No, everybody's pretty chill when it comes to um their home to home purchases. People usually aren't very weird. People are very different though. You know, you'll have some people that want a home that was built 100 years ago and they want to flip it and have that old character, you know, like you see on the TV shows. Um, like for me, I've never bought a brand new house, and I don't have any desire to buy a brand new house. I have a house that was built in the 30s and a house that was built in the 50s because I love funky, mid-century, weird stuff that you can't get in a new build. So everybody's taste kind of varies in that way. Um, can I plant a question maybe? Does anybody know what it takes to become a realtor? A job. No. If somebody offers you a job and you don't have a license, you can't be a realtor or you'll go to jail. Yeah. So, do you need a degree for real estate? No, you don't. Now, do I think that the degree that I have and all of the things that I learned in college made it to where I'm a more successful real estate? Yes, I do. But do I know people that didn't go to college and let's say their dad was a realtor and they learned how to do it right out of high school? I know some realtors that are way more successful than I am that make way more money than I do, and they didn't go to college because they had opportunities in place at a younger age. I didn't know what real estate was when I was 18. Okay, but neither one is a bad path. I got a marketing degree. I learned so much in college. I got to play soccer, and I got to go to college for free, which was, you know, who turns that down? But real estate is a path. Some of you are going to be more interested in trade schools. Am I supposed to promote non? I know this is a college readiness, but some of you are going to be interested in trade schools and things like that. That maybe you have to start working right out of high school and you don't have the opportunity to go to college because you've got to take care of siblings or a parent or a grandparent. Lots of people have lots of reasons that they don't get to go to college. Real estate is something that you can take classes online for. Um, there's several tests that you have to pass. My neighbor's trying to take them right now, and she keeps calling me super frustrated because she keeps not passing. So there are several tests you have to take, and they are difficult. But you don't have to have a degree to be a realtor. Okay, it's a licensing process. Uh-huh. Okay. Hmm. Right. Hmm. Right. Okay. Right. Right. And we all know you have different circumstances as you become young adults. But having the tools to be able to decide that is amazing because some kids get to their junior, senior year in high school and they're like, I really want to go to college, but nobody has prepared them in any capacity for what it takes, or laid the groundwork so they can't. Anybody have any more questions? Yes. Have I met them? No. I've watched their show a couple times, but I've not met them. Uh, yeah. So I do love watching them. They are really. So I'm in obviously DFW, the Dallas Fort Worth area, and our marketing, like our housing market is incredibly inflated. Do you know what that means? What is a balloon when it inflates? Big. Okay, so when your market is inflated, the prices are way bigger. Okay, so DFW housing prices are crazy high. A $200,000 house right now is a very small, normal, you know, well, I don't even know. It's just a very normal house. Probably the house is right around here in this neighborhood, not fancy. Okay, when I was a kid, a $200,000 house was like a mansion. Okay, the housing prices have gone way up. So when I watch those real estate shows and they buy these houses for $80,000 and they're these like incredible mid-century homes with these crazy bones and windows everywhere, and then it only costs $30,000 for a full flip. I'm like, come on, like where are you people buying houses? So the process and the work and all the things that it takes and the steps that they go through seem pretty realistic, but my brain is kind of stuck on Dallas Fort Worth prices, and I don't know where they're buying homes, but I need to go there. So, yes, sir. Oh, the worst. Oh, the worst sale I ever had. I had to list a house for somebody who was a mess, and their house would always be super, 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 super messy whenever people would show it. And they were doing things there that were illegal. So that was pretty terrible because I'm selling the house, so it looks like I'm representing that person. So that was a mess. But all in all, I love it. I get to meet new people all the time. I get to learn things about people. Oh, I've had so many good ones. I've worked with some really wonderful people. I can't pick a top one. I can't. I can't do it. You guys were an awesome audience. I appreciate you. Yeah. Thank you guys for